Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So, as we know, in Forza Horizon 5, there has been many bugs and glitches since its initial release. Now, throughout the 8 months of the game's lifespan, many of them have been patched either through a series update or a hot fix. Now, to actually fix or patch a bug is not as easy as many people think. It's not just, oh, here's a glitch, let's just fix it, boom, put that patch out live and it's done. No, in order for a patch to truly be successful, it must go through multiple internal tests, as one issue that gets resolved could have the possibility of creating many other new bugs. So it does take a lot of time, but given how buggy and glitchy Horizon 5 was since day one, I think Playground Games will have a very hard time before half of the issues in the game right now even gets resolved. With that said though, unfortunately there are certain bugs and glitches that the developers just can't fix, either because of how Horizon 5 was developed, or it's just simply impossible without drastically ruining something else within the game. And they have been very transparent about this on the official support page, which I do respect. The only problem here is no one truly reads them. So in today's video, I'll be focusing on 8 of the most common bugs and glitches that you, the subscribers, have noticed, but unfortunately, Playground Games have said, no, we just cannot fix them. Starting off with number 1, the Toyota Supra RZ. So who remembers the good old days when you loaded up Forza Horizon 1, 2, 3 or 4, that once you get into a 1998 Toyota Supra RZ and go into cockpit view out in free roam, your driver tile will actually take their left hand off their steering wheel and shift the gear knob while changing gears. Now of course we all know that in Horizon 5 when you shift in the exact same car there is no animation. If I gotta be honest, I do find it very strange because other cars like the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR, Mazda RX-7 or the Honda NSX-R, they all have retained their gear shifting animation, but what specifically happened to the Supra RZ? It's something that's been there throughout all of the other Horizon titles, but according to Playground Games, this is a bug that has been listed under the won't fix or by design notes. So I guess for the remaining life of this game, we will be seeing psychic levels of dropping it to second gear. Number 2, paddle shifters. With almost every new car being brought into the Horizon franchise now featuring paddle shifters only, I find it interesting that the animation for shifting paddles are not present in Horizon 5. Now I've got to be honest, back in the older Horizon titles like 2 and 3, where these types of cars were becoming more common, I could see why Playground Games didn't really bother to animate them. And while you're driving in cockpit view, it wasn't something of real focus. But in Horizon 4, these paddle shifters in most of the cars, if not all, actually worked. And I remember seeing this for the first time and I was like, wow, it's nice to see subtle details like this get improved because as a gamer and car enthusiast, I do appreciate these things. Then 3 years on and here we are back to motionless paddle shifting. I guess this is one of those scenarios where once something quite small has been improved for the better, it becomes extremely noticeable once it doesn't. Number 3, the Four Convertibles. Going back all the way to the E3 trailer for Horizon 5, one of the biggest features we were excited about was the ability to actually use the convertible feature out in free roam. However, when the game launched, only 3 cars I believe were able to do this: the McLaren 720S Spider, the Ferrari Portofino and the Pagani Zonda Cinque Roadster. I could be wrong, but honestly I don't necessarily remember, but throughout multiple updates, Playground Games have extended the list of cars that allow us to take the roofs off our vehicles, cars like the Porsche 918 Spider, McLaren 650S Spider, and the new Ford Bronco. I mean, it's a growing list. Now, the easiest way to check if there is a potential for a car in Horizon 5 to have this feature out in free roam is to go into Forza Vista mode, and if you see a little interactive icon on the top of the car and it actually removes the top or does some sort of animation, then there is a possibility that later on it may be included out in free roam. However, according to Playground Games, there are 4 convertible cars that won't ever make it to that list, and that is the Honda S2000, the 2013 and 2016 Mazda MX-5, and the Mercedes-Benz SLK 55. Bit of a shame really, but the feature still works in Forza Vista mode. Number 4, Audi rear window. So here's an interesting one. When you get into the Audi RS2 Avant and head out into free roam in third person view, you will see these huge defoggers on the rear window. Now here's a little secret, on the real car, they're not visible at all. Either it doesn't have any or they're extremely thin. Now, this car itself was featured back in Forza Motorsport 4 on the Xbox 360, and the RS2 in that game didn't have any defoggers in the rear window, which is very accurate. And because this specific car model itself is taken from Motorsport 4 and upscaled to its succeeding titles, whoever added upscaled textures added something that was completely unnecessary. And it's been here since Horizon 2. Playground Games, of course, is aware of this, and since 2014, apparently, it just can't be changed. Number 5, brake discs cool down too quickly. Now, I have talked about this in a previous video before, but have you ever noticed when you drive very fast and then all of a sudden brake, the brake discs do glow up, but once you stop or drive again, the discs immediately stop glowing. Or better yet, if you drive without ABS and gradually apply the brakes, yes, you do see your brake disc glow, but once you lock up the brakes, the brake disc cool right back down like a stop of a button. This was never seen back in any of the previous Horizon titles. If you brake or even lock up the brakes, the disc will glow and then gradually fade away again, which is how brakes realistically work. Now, when I showed this in a previous video, I had a couple of degenerates in the comment section tell me, actually, this is how brakes work and it's super realistic. And I'm like, no, for brakes to even start glowing, it must reach over 750 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you know how hot that is? And even if I threw ice on it to cool it down, the glow would just not all of a sudden disappear. So what makes you think air would do that? So it's just represented incorrectly in Horizon 5, and it looks as if it's something that will not get changed. Number 6, the Volkswagen Golf R32. So speaking of cars that were modeled from the Xbox 360 days, here's one that I believe was actually originally taken from the first Forza Motorsport title back on the original Xbox, and then throughout the years with the new titles, it has been added with new textures, a full interior model, and so on. I do not think at any point this car has been remodeled throughout the history of this franchise, and here's one of the biggest giveaways. The wheels, if you look closely, are actually not centered with the wheel arches, which is the same problem it had back in the first Forza game. Not only that, the entire car model is rubbish if you want to compare them to the laser scanned vehicles we now get in Horizon 5. I mean, this R32 is totally out of proportion in so many ways. I have talked about this car in the past, but yeah, one thing that will remain in Horizon 5 are the wheels not being aligned. Number 7, wheel texture. Now this one was not on the official support list, but I think it is interesting to note, and I do believe it has something to do with the Forza Tech engine itself. So I was scrolling through Twitter the other day and I stumbled across this tweet where it showed the car rims in Horizon 5 where after a certain speed the texture of the rim becomes more 2D or almost flat. Now this doesn't happen to all car rims, or just maybe it's not as obvious, but looking at other racing titles that doesn't have this weird two-step rendering rim texture, yeah, sure, you can get away with it back in 2009, but we're in 2022 and this has to go. So I'm hopeful that once the new Forza Motorsport title releases with this brand new engine, that we will no longer see this anymore in Horizon 6, if that's even a thing. And lastly, number 8, the Grassy Motorway. So this one is a little unique and it doesn't show up on the latest Xbox consoles or certain settings if you're playing on the PC. So for those that aren't aware, along the main highway of Horizon 5, if you drive up to this particular spot here, there is some grass texture that seems to be bugged. It's laid over certain parts of the tarmac, over the yellow lines, and it's a bug that has been in the game since launch. Now, if we drive on the same motorway on the Xbox Series consoles, in the exact same spot, you can clearly see that there is no buggy grass texture at all. It's actually how it's supposed to look like. Now, according to Playground Games, this cannot be fixed, and it looks to be something that will stay there permanently. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button as it really does help me out. And also, if you guys would like to see more Forza Horizon 5 content right here on this channel, make sure to click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. That way you won't ever miss out on another video that goes live. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.